Hi, guys. You know what? I am so sorry I'm late again. Damien Washington and I have been working for the past hour and 15 minutes trying to figure out how to add him into this video. So can't do it. So right now, and I'm going to figure out how to troubleshoot it so that it'll be a split screen, and I promise you, you'll want to see his handsome, alive, kind of crazy face. I mean, he's like a flashlight. You got to see him. You'll fall in love with him. He is the one with relapsing remitting. He's been diagnosed for 3 years. I promise you, you'll want to hear. You'll want to hear the interview. A lot of things have changed since I was diagnosed with relapsing remitting, and they're really important for you to see how things have changed. We didn't have many options back in 1993. They diagnosed us by doing a spinal tap and by doing an MRI. A lot of people, it took a very long time to get diagnosed. With me, it was textbook. I have proteins in my spinal fluid, and I had lesions in my MRI. So it was fantastic. It was textbook. Um, but most of the time in '93, that's not how it happened. It took years and years and years to be diagnosed. Sometimes you wouldn't have proteins in your blood. Sometimes you wouldn't have these lesions in your brain, and that could be really uh, 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 problematic for someone trying to diagnose you, especially when you had classic symptoms like optic neuritis or the numbing, very classic symptoms of MS. Now, when I had optic neuritis before I was diagnosed, I went into the hospital, and my cousin, who was a ophthalmologist, came in and said to me, not everyone with MS gets optic neuritis, but everyone with optic neuritis gets MS. And this is before I was diagnosed. And he said to me, you will come down with MS. First time I ever heard those words, and they were kind of scary. So I wanted to tell you that. All right, this is how it was back then. Fast forward to how it is now. Damien is going to give you a first-hand experience of what he went through. It doesn't discount what you've went through, but and a lot of it will sound so familiar, but it's good when we hear our stories from somebody else. And we hear things that we think, well, maybe my doctor should have done that, or maybe I should consider this medication. Everything that you hear from me and through anybody I interview is meant for you to go take to your neurologist. It is it's really a good thing to get information. Um, we've been I've been dealing with a lot of disinformation lately. A lot of people who have different opinions than I do. And I love people with different opinions than I do because it challenges me. It gets me questioning. So, like I'm learning. You let's see, I have a teachable spirit, and only in this way, only when I'm willing to be wrong, can I be of any can I learn, can I be of any value to you. um, Talk to Damien, and next week it's really going to be exciting. I Things have changed, and the advice they give you is just different. It's different than it was a long time ago. Um, let's see, with relapsing remitting, common. Well, I'll just go into what was common. A common symptom for relapsing remitting, um, when you first start, is visual, with the optic neuritis, double vision, that kind of thing. Uh, you can have sensory difficulties. I remember, and that's the paresthesia. That's the pins and needles, the burning sensation. A lot of us went into the went into the doctor, like me. This is years after I had optic neuritis, and the doctor said, just a general checkup, and the doctor said, do you have anything else wrong? And I said, I've got a numb arm. I think it's a pinched nerve because I lift weights and I play softball and everything. It feels numb. It is, it's numb. And I said my mom used to call them skin bruises because I had them, I believe, from age 10 on. So, and my mom used to say, it's growing pains, it's skin bruises. So I told the doctor, I have this skin bruise, it's a numb patch on my skin, it hurts to touch, yet it feels numb, it's kind of crazy. And the doctor looked at me kind of cross-eyed and said, that's not normal. It's not growing pains, you're too old to have that. I'm referring you to a neurologist. So I went to the neurologist, and he did the MRI and the spinal tap, and diagnosed me right away. Okay, hi, good morning. Well, let's see. I'm going to read that out loud. My MS was undiagnosed from 2003 to 2012 because no MRI was done of my spinal cord where my lesions are located. 3 neurologists later, a diagnosis was made. Isn't that something? Because back in 1993, the only MRI to diagnose people with MS was a brain MRI. And what's just great about you saying that is it gives us a window into the evolution of how they diagnose. Currently now, I know they want me to have a brain, neck, and spinal MRI every other year. And I've had this so long, and that MRI tracks how effective your medication is. Um, so that is really interesting, okay, when you said 2003 to 2012. So I guess they started doing the spinal and the C-spine MRI in 2012. Has anybody else, does anybody else have that same story? We're doing the chat on the side, so I'm reading that. Sherry said, good morning to you, Sherry. Sherry, did you get a C-spine or a spinal MRI? I know sometimes it's like, gosh, MRIs are expensive. I don't want another MRI because they're expensive. And then there's some sort of controversy of whether you get contrast or not contrast. It's been thought that it can aggravate your MS. I don't know. I think if you have an allergy towards contrast, maybe it aggravated mine. I just don't know because I have active aggressive MS. I have relapsing remitting, which is, this kind of thing. And I've got chronic progressive. So the old attacks I used to have, they exposed my myelin sheath, and now it's so long that nerve has become brittle. So what I'm dealing with is the old attacks, some of the damage I had back in '93. That returned. So I have some of those effects. Now they want to stop any relapses right now that I could have, because any damage that happens now could, in 10 to 20 years, expose that myelin, and the symptoms can come back permanently. One of the things that I had when I stopped Gilenya, and before, let me see, I stopped Tisabria, then I went on Gilenya. When they stopped Gilenya and before rituximab, they wanted my lymphocytes to come back, which they never did. It was like permanently low. Well, unfortunately, I had been off of it for about 7 months, and that 7th month I had a catastrophic attack where it affected. I had, let's see, uh, 3 areas of my brain, the pons area, let me see, 2 on my C-spine and 1 on my spine. And they had to give me, it was like 1,000 milligrams a day for 2 weeks, or 8 days actually. It was 8 days, and then they did the chemo right away. Not the chemo. How about the rituximab, the monoclonal antibody to stop the attack? Now, where I'm going with that is that I was so dizzy, and it was a new symptom. Brian, my husband, had to kind of strap me to my scooter because I couldn't sit up on the couch or anything. So what he did is strap me there, and slowly, whenever the inflammation went away, because inflammation is associated with attacks there. When the inflammation lessened there, I was able to rehab myself to walk again. Here is the problem: that dizziness, in 10 to 20 years, it may not come back, but actually I'm dizzy all the time now, but it that where I was tied to the scooter, it may get that bad in 10 to 20 years. Uh, uh, this is a wonderful time for me to get used to living in a dizzy world. Give you an example. For our honeymoon, we went on a cruise, and this was in 2003. The boat hit some really rough seas, and I used to be dizzy then. Vertigo, it was a bad symptom of mine. Everybody was seasick, everybody, and I'm walking around, and I've got to use the side of the ship to walk, and I'm dealing pretty well with it. My husband said to me, "Oh my gosh, don't you feel it?" And I said, "No, you know that rock and that waviness is how I always feel. So it's no different in my brain what's going on outside." Uh, it just, so what I'm saying is that just because I was dizzy and I couldn't stand up during that attack doesn't mean I can't get used to it to a certain extent, and hold on to my walker here, hold on to that, and because I'm not always dizzy when I'm holding on to the walker, but every once in a while I'll get this spell of disorientation, and that is, if I'm holding on, then it's not a big deal. So I just have to hold on. When I don't hold on, I climb up on chairs or on ladders, and I'm not holding on. I get injured. I have to hold on. I don't, I don't follow my rule in that I've got more guts than sense. Climb up the ladder. Like today, I'm painting the bathroom wall that I went through the toilet paper roll when I fell up against the wall because I wasn't holding on to anything, and it went into my rib, broke my rib, smashed the thing, because you got the two toilet paper holder there, and you got the toilet paper. Well, my rib went into this, right? Went into that. It smashed my rib and pushed a hole into the wall. Uh, um, but we people with MS have an incredible pain tolerance. You look at this COVID-19, what was scarier than getting that was getting it and having to cough with the painful rib. It's starting to feel better now. But I knocked it into the wall. Brian fixed the wall, and today I got to paint it. Right, well, all the way up to the ceiling, and I'll have a little step ladder. And as long as I'm holding on, it's probably crazy. I probably shouldn't be on the step ladder. He taped it off, but it's, just because we have MS doesn't mean we have to sequester ourselves into doing nothing. We have to keep trying. We have to keep trying. We have to keep thriving. We gotta try. I'll tell you, it's spring, and I was just too dizzy to work in the garden. So I put on some grubby pants and everything, and I went out and brought my walker out on the grass, and I got down on my hands and knees. And normally I have dirt. Let me see if I've got dirt underneath. Yeah, you can see a little dirt there, because I crawl around and I plant, I dig and everything, and just, we have to do this. It's productive. It's productive. The chickens. I wanted to tell you about the chickens. Our little sweet little chickens. Brian dusted some diatomaceous earth in the crib. We have them in a baby crib right now, and they're bantams, little silkies there. So these girls started giving themselves a dust bath, and that dust bath started creating particulates in the air, and now the whole house is covered with dust from diatomaceous earth. There, it probably wasn't a good idea, so I've got to go and I got to dust everything. But it's productive. I'm being productive. Sherry, I just see you had the works. You had an MRI of your head, neck, and spine, and they don't know if you have MS. Did you have a spinal tap? Were they able to find anything, any proteins in your spinal fluid? The other thing is what kind of symptoms? Because that's, if they can't find a definitive answer whether you have MS with the classic test, what they do is they count all of your symptoms and they add that up, and that is a classic way to determine if you have MS. Well, hi, Chris. You keep moving. That is absolutely right. And I'll tell you what, let me tell you guys something. I know this isolation, this COVID, I'm high risk and everything. They tell us to stay home. But again, we're only at high risk if we're on a medication that suppresses our immune system. If you have MS, and you are taking, say, Avonex or Beta-Seron, that doesn't put you at higher risk, those two things. So if you're on heart medication, if you're on, what makes you higher risk of getting this? If you have diabetes, that kind of thing, if you have that. What I wanted to tell you is that I have chronic pain. I have such chronic pain, and I go to a pain clinic, and I haven't taken anything, so I'm in discomfort right now. And the discomfort I feel is very much like when you took, if anybody had taken Avonex, Beta-Seron, Copaxone, no, not Copaxone, Avonex, Beta-Seron, Rebif, the interferon. So the side effects of the interferon is flu-like, is bone crushing, pain. It was really bad with me. Well, when I was on it, I had that bone crushing pain. But then when I stopped taking it, that pain never left. And I haven't been on it for probably 20 years, and I hurt all the time. So what? And now go back to what I was saying. I take this medication. 1 minute. Okay. Just, it's a telemarketer. Why do telemarketers? I don't know. But anyway, all right. So I take the medication. If I take the right medication, the side effect is that I'm able to have more energy. I don't have that pain, and I can do squats. I can try to walk around the block, which is a mile, with my hip flexor assisted device. Go look through my videos and watch that one, HFAD. If you go to the channel, there is a looks like a magnifying glass. That is a search my channel. So look at that hip flexor assisted device. If you have let's say a hip flexor that doesn't like to lift that knee up, if you have knee lock and foot drop, you have those three things together, you need this device. I think it's Becker. Becker is the people who sell it there, and they sold it. It allows me to walk, and I only wear it when I'm going for a walk around the block, but I can't walk around the block unless I'm wearing that. So but what you have to do is get a dog collar at the dollar store and hook the end of it on the dog collar. And then what you do is you put it over your shoe so it lifts your shoe. So it is. There are aids we can use to allow us to work out, to use it there. Think about the AFOs, ankle foot orthotics there, and that's a plate that holds your toe up. When you go for a walk, you don't trip over your toe. Is wonderful is that is there. It doesn't allow you to work on pulling your toe up. So if you're going to use it to walk around your house, sit down and try to do foot raises. You got to keep trying to do that. Let's see. I'm only going to go for a half an hour today. Only a half an hour, so I've got 7 minutes left, and I'm gonna go today. So I just don't have a lot to say. I will say that there's the medication. If you take the baclofen, if so you don't get stiff. If you some people do a lot of caffeine and they'll go for walks. There are things that if there's a way for you to keep track in a notebook of what had motivated you, what did you take? Did you do green tea? Did you do a Red Bull? What did you do to give you enough energy to do either squats or go for a walk or now if you're healthy and you use it, go for a walk, get that knee up as high, both knees as high as possible. One of the things that I remember in physical therapy early on was if you hold onto a counter and you take a breath, inhale, and then you lift that up, let's see, you come on. No. I always walk with a walker because the reason why I use a walker is because I'm dizzy. I'm not always dizzy, But if I have, Chris, if I have an attack of dizziness, I will fall. Just like I fell. I stood up too fast from the commode and lost my balance because I had that attack of dizziness there, and I fell up against the wall. So I always have to be hold on to something in case, so pretend like I'm on a ship there, in case a wave comes and unsteadies me. So that'll tell you that's what we have to do. So I have to walk with a walker. The hip flexor assisted device I use because I can lift up my knee. It helps when it's got rubber bands down the side. So when I step out, it pulls that foot up. That it works. It helps with that hip flexor, and it trains that hip flexor to it's connection between the hip flexor and the brain there. No, you know what? I can, Chris. I can walk with a walker, without a walker. If I can walk down the hallway if I've got a wall there. I can walk across the room. It's like skiing. If I see someplace I can hold on to and I'm confident I'm not going to fall, I can do that. I can walk that way. The problem is think about that. Think about a rogue wave coming and you're holding on to the wall. Well, the wall will only protect you going to the left and to the right. What happens if the wave comes from behind you and you're only stationary one way? The wave, won't help me going backwards or forwards there. So I can go backwards and forwards. So that is safety first, and I use the walker really for the benefit of people who are watching me. I upset people when I fall. Of course, when you work out, it doesn't hurt as much when you fall, and we have incredible pain threshold. The reason why I didn't have anything more than a broken rib is because I do these lat pull downs. My back was the muscles were so dense that it just went in. Didn't cause any damage other than that broken rib, and that was good there. Furniture walking is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing, but I can't walk without a walker. I'll tell you, I remember when I worked for the Sands when I was in college, the casino in Atlantic City. I was yelled at because I wore stilettos. Not stilettos, 3-inch heels there, because I have a short Achilles tendon, so I could walk up and down the stairs carrying a tray without holding on to anything, carrying a tray with, let me think, 8 drinks, small and little highball things. And then on top of the 8 drinks, I'd have 4 drinks. And on top of that, I would have 3 drinks and then one on top. And I'd have straws, depending on whether they were gin and tonics, 2 straws, vodka tonics, scotch and sodas, whatever, different drinks in different areas. And I would have this pyramid of drinks and in these high heels, and I walked down the middle of the stairs. Oh my gosh, that is like watching the Olympics. Will I ever get to that level? No, but you know what? I'm not. In '93, people were dying of MS. I've had such a wildly aggressive disease. I have been confined to a wheelchair for 3 times, and I fought back. Each time I've had neurologists, I heard that it is more distressful to have someone with an aggressive, relapsing remitting than it is a primary progressive over a long period of time, because you'll have somebody with relapsing remitting lay down, get so disabled they can't sit up. Their eyes are going back and forth. They're, the devastation of the attack is so bad. They might not be able to talk. You might not, but you can come back from all of these things. You can come back. You can get, relapsing, remitting like that, right? It doesn't have to be like that. The more you fight, the more you get it back there. You know what? It's like having strokes. So when people say, "Oh, they had a stroke and they fight back once," it's like, wouldn't that be nice? But we are athletes. If you have relapsing remitting, you have to fight back. If you have primary progressive, you have to work on standing up. Don't look at what you used to be able to do. Like when I carried all those drinks down there, you can't think like that. You have to be grateful for what you have now. And if you want a little bit more strength, if you yeah, go for it. You have to try to gain it because doing I don't want to do squats there, and I have you see the doorknob behind. If you put a towel or something, you can do these squats there, and force some strength into those weak legs there. Anyway, so I've been doing this 31 minutes there. Do you have any questions for me? Because I'm about to sign off, and I promise you I'm going to figure out this how to have a split screen interview. So you're looking at me and you're looking at the person I'm interviewing you, because I promised you some of these people are just fantastic to look at, much better looking than me. And Damien is much younger, and he's beautiful. He's beautiful. So you're gonna look at him, and his smile is engaging. So we're gonna have some fun watching him. Don't and that'll be great there. Chris, you know what? Again, it's a steady. I pray that it's a steady and it's a slow worsening. But remember, it this is what Charles said. It's one step forward, three steps back. It doesn't. You don't have to lose it all. Keep trying to. And you know what? She ended up calling me, and I interviewed her last week. She ended up letting me know that she wasn't feeling very happy. So there's a very good chance it's two steps back and one step forward. You know how we wake up and we don't feel very good, and we end up complaining more there, and it's just wonderful for me to go and prep people. I need to be a better servant as far as prepping them in advance. I can talk to any of you. You can send me emails about how rough it is having the disease. A lot of times we need each other to complain about these things, because if you complain to your spouse or to your mom or your sister or your brother, your kids and all, they just don't know what to do, and we make them feel bad. So let's complain to each other, because I understand and you understand, and all. And Chris, I understand. I understand. I understand. I don't have primary progressive, but I have got this secondary progressive. I've actually been called end stage um, secondary progressive MS, and I find that insulting. End stage, you know, because I'm going to outlive the doctors who say end stage, right? And so are you, right? This is a new time, and Damien's going to shine some light on that. Anyway, God bless you. Please subscribe. Go to msfrontiers.org and look at the resources we have for you. Um, I love you all, and gosh, I hope that God speaks to you and comforts you through my words. That's what I pray for every time I talk to you guys. Anyway, keep coming back, and I'll talk to you later.